relationship already forming there, so you guys were able to mesh pretty quickly once you got on the field?
I think sometimes change is good for young men, and I think that they embraced it, and we really like the attitude, the way they've come to work.
You like what you're seeing from the guys, leadership-wise, so far?
Yeah, we always want to develop more and more leaders, and everybody's at a different level. The Coach Sermon always tell them we're all at different levels in leadership. We want to do it by example, though.
How have you, the guys as a defensive staff, adjusted to each other before you got out here? There's a lot of new faces for you.
Well, I think the thing you have to understand in coaching that is always going to be change, and so you got to be able to work with people. And I think our guys in our defensive meeting room has gelled very well, and it always started at the top. So Coach Sermon come in and he set the demeanor, and I think all the guys have joined along.
What do you think of the young guys coming up who redshirted last year, or the mid-year enrollees that you got, CJ or Lynn or some of those guys?
Well, you can tell they're kind of tentative, new system, hadn't played a lot, and again, it just comes with experience. The more reps they get, the better they're going to be. We like the ability that they have. That's why we recruited them here. So we expect big things from those guys in the future.
How have you adjusted? A couple months here, and new job, obviously new coach Petrino, but how have you adjusted to the city and to the school?
I love the city of Louisville. I think it's great people, great foundation, a fan base, and you can just gotta love the way that the program has played in the past. So I always can adjust and fit in to any situation.
It's so much of football is getting ready for football, but to get back on the grass and you get to know people, but then you get to learn about them in a different way. There's the inside players and there's the players when they get on the field. So it's good to get to know both of them now.
How was the adjustment of getting to know the guys before you got on the field? What did you feel about your group that you have on defense?
It's hard, because when you come in, just like when you meet anybody, the first impressions, everyone handles themselves the right way. But once you get into the football element of it, now it's how do they work an individual? What's their attention to detail in the meeting rooms? Are they coming up for extra meeting time? What's their demeanor on the field? Are they leading others? So there's so much more to the person once you actually get on the field.
How would you describe yourself during practices?
Boy, I try to be enthusiastic. I really do. Football's a tough game, and I think coaches are the leaders. Coaches are the leaders, and every program wants to have 3 or 4 guys that lead from the locker room. But in my experience, there's a lot of young men, and they got a lot of things going on, and it's our job as the guys with experience to come out there and set the tone, and you try to pull everybody along with you.
Right now, I think I'm a little too slow right now under center. I think I should be getting back quicker, but it's fun right now. He just getting me right, for the season ahead of me right now. So it's cool.
As far as working under center, I guess what are the different techniques that he's trying to work with you to speed up that?
My footwork, just get my hips around, get my shoulders turned around, to get the ball on target, little things like that.
Feel like you got any rust after being away from football for a few weeks?
I wouldn't say that. Yeah, I wouldn't say that. Yeah. I've been pretty good.
You look physically stronger. Do you feel different out there on the field after that?
I feel mature. I feel like I've grown into the system more, and I'm just ready to play.
So the second time around, it's a little easier to figure things out?
Yeah, it's a lot easier. Coach Nick's doing a great job, teaching me the plays and stuff, getting me right with defenses and learning, what defense is doing before I get out there. So, yeah.
How different is it without Quick and Staples, 2 guys who were there all the time?
Well, we got great guys stepping up right now, so it's good to see them boys out there getting ready. Young guys, Seth Dawkins, we got Dez coming in. It's going to be great.